today. I think the audio is good now. I also popped on my little fluffer thing on the mic to see if that would help today's stream. Apparently there's been a couple crackles and stuff lately, so we'll try and fix that one up. Welcome in, Kimmers. Michael was first today though, so shout out to Michael. Thank you for being first. Hope you're doing good, dude. Kimmers was playing Disney Dreamlight Valley. I might play a little bit of that today. We'll see. We'll see how the afternoon goes. Always a fun game though. What did I do last? It took me forever to get the Frozen one challenge unlocked. It's not Anna. What's the other one? Like, I haven't watched Frozen, so I don't know those characters. But man, that took me like 6 months almost. I'm not even making this up. Bob, it's good to see you. Welcome in. It's going okay. I don't know. I feel like kind of grumpy today. I think it's the full moon. It's just gonna be what it is, right? You can't let that wreck your day though. Just let the feelings come and go. That's all we can do. But yeah, I was up early. I actually went to the farmer's market this morning. I think I have gone to this before, like with my mom when I was really small. But yeah, I went for like, to me, let's say as an adult for the first time to, it's called the Strathcona Farmer's Market. So I just have to drive like over the river. And yeah, they opened at 8. And I guess it's been around for 40 years now. They're celebrating 40 years of the market. So that was super cool. And I will say, we're gonna go back there. Because some of the farms that had veggies and stuff, like pick 6 bags of stuff for 22 bucks. We're getting a 4 for 20 at the grocery store. See? See? You think that you're saving money, but supporting farmers can even save more money. I don't know about the meat part saving money, but definitely I think vegetables is the way to go. So it's only open on Saturdays though, which is like kind of the risky thing for me to do. So I'd probably more like buy stuff for myself to use throughout the week or pre-plan some things that can last until the prior week for stream, right? Some of the market vendors lie. They get veggies from regular supermarket distribution warehouses. Okay, so yes, that is fair to say, but I am really familiar with all of the farms around here that do produce vegetables and stuff like that. And I have bought from them for many, many years in my life. So they're definitely trusted for me. I would say maybe if you're going to a market in a place that you don't know, do your research for sure, right? And I mean, I did my research. That's where I found what I wanted to go buy there, which is these grains. So we're gonna start a sourdough adventure today. I'm very wary of it because it's been a while since I've done it. And fermenting things is always a bit challenging, but as long as we put lots of love into it, I think it'll go just fine. Mickey, how are you doing? Okay, so I was there, I think I got there around like 8:30, and then I just kind of did a little browse. I didn't go even through the whole market because I didn't want to get tempted to buy stuff. I don't really have like money to spend until Friday, right? That's how it goes for some of us. But I know I needed this. So I talked to the lady, kind of let her know what I was looking for. I also asked if she was the business owner, because sometimes at markets they will hire people to just be like the face for the storefront, to be there for a couple hours, and like the owners actually work elsewhere, right? Not at the market because they're too busy. But it was the owner that was at the market, so I was like looking for a grain to mill to make sourdough with, and like I'm just kind of introducing wheat back into my system. And so, Einkorn, great question. So this is called farro the grain, which is what it's mostly known as. But the actual designation of it is an ancient grain, if you see here. is einkorn. So that's one of the first grains that we ever used. Even spelt came from this grain, she said. So it's always the best to go with those ancient grains because they haven't really been tampered with over the years, right? And so I also made sure that it was organic, which is really, really important because a lot of these grain crops and stuff are sprayed with pesticides that are not good for us. So I spent $11 on this kilo of grains. And I'm excited to see how far it's gonna go, right? Because once we start milling this up, you're gonna get way more than what the grains are just here. So that'll be interesting. So we'll get our soup going, I think, and then we'll start the milling process. And then one thing I did read about the mill that I have is a lot of people said it's not like the most perfect mill that you could buy as far as milling grains for flour to make bread from. But I did scroll a little bit further down the forum that I was in because sometimes like people are like really hoity-toity about bread for no reason, right? And like the things that they use for it. So I scrolled down to see if anyone else used the mill that we're gonna use for the stand mixer today, and they did. They said it works fine. You just have to do a couple extra passes to get the flour fine enough. And then one other thing before we use the flour is you just sift it because this whole outside of the grain, that's all the bran. So that's what keeps the seed from sprouting too early. So the bran protects the grain throughout the season so that right when it hits that perfect moisture, that bran opens up and everything grows. So the bran is not bad. I was watching some sourdough videos this week actually from a bakery. And when they sift out that bran, like they get all their flour milled at a mill, but they asked the mill to keep that sifted bran to like use underneath your breads and stuff like that, instead of a durum wheat semolina or a cornmeal. So we'll definitely save all of the stuff that we get from this today. I mean, you could also use the bran in like muffins and breads and stuff like that, right? So this would be a fun adventure. I haven't made sourdough bread since 2017. And I was also living in a very different environment where Greek lives in Vancouver. So it was very humid and like usually very warm. Pretty amazing to make sourdough, I will say. Environment that we're in now, quite cool, but I do keep my like bedroom pretty warm rather than the rest of the house. So that's where the sourdough is gonna have to live for the next 3 weeks. Michael, you're looking forward to the farmer's market pop-up shop to pop up in the spring downtown? Yes. Just one family run business, but it's great quality veggies. Yeah, like people were going nuts on the veggies today. Like this girl like zoomed in front of me as I was walking in and like went straight to what she knew she was gonna get that day. Was like, whoa, I'm only here at like 30 minutes after opening and this is nuts. Greek, I said the last time that I made sourdough in 2017, we lived in Vancouver. So like this is such a different environment compared to that. You had sourdough bread with butter with your lunch? Yeah, snob voice. I love it, Samovar. Okay, so onto this chowder recipe as well. I was actually really concerned this morning because I have made this before on stream and we always use this same recipe. It was actually posted from a newspaper because this recipe comes from a restaurant in Vancouver Island, or on Vancouver Island in Victoria there. The restaurant is called Redfish Bluefish and it's actually built into a shipping container on the wharf, so right on the seaside, and then there's just like a dock all around it. And this is one of their things that they make there. And I will say, like, after having this version of chowder, it's pretty much life-changing. Also a good one to make for people that can't have dairy because it's coconut milk based, not just cow's milk. you work at a grocery store, people can get aggressive when shopping. It was funny. I mean, it kind of got me like amped up though, right? I was like, this is the place to be. Excuse me. So here's the recipes that we're gonna use today. The first one there is the one that I found. So it's just from a girl that did an adaptation of this recipe from the restaurant, because the one that they shared with the newspaper, that article doesn't exist anymore when I clicked on the link today. So I was like, ah, oh, shoot, right? So hopefully this is as close as possible to the actual thing. So think like a kind of spicy tomato coconut milk based chowder with potatoes and all this stuff in it still. And then I also linked how to make our sourdough starter today, and we have a sourdough section in our Discord that's already posted in there. I was gonna make cookies today, but I'm just not feeling it, guys. Most Saturdays I'm feeling like baking something, but today I'm just not feeling it, you know? So I don't want to bake something and then like not eat it throughout the week. You never know, maybe tomorrow I'll feel like baking. We'll see. Okay, so the last time I ate this chowder was last year when we did our little road trip in August to the island. And that was one thing I really wanted to go get there. So it hasn't been that long since the last time I ate it. So I already like kind of know how it should taste, right? Okay, let's get into it. I don't think this will be too long of a stream today. Just make a little listeroo and away we go. Samovar, what do you do at the grocery store? Okay, so first things first, with our chowder, you do your like mirepoix, so carrot, onion, celery. I have carrot and onion, but I didn't have celery. So I thought I would just take out our soup base and keep using that up. We'll just do a couple spoonfuls. It was just carrot, onion, celery, garlic, all kind of shredded up and cooked with butter together. So that'll be the same thing there. We kind of did a cheat today with that. But I feel like whenever you have chowder, like stuff with seafood, you want that celery flavor. You don't want to skip that. I saw in the comments for this recipe that someone made it without celery, so it's not gonna make it bad, that's for sure. Okay, so our mirepoix, we can already like cross that off. Yes. And then our potatoes, we will have to dice up. I have some golden potatoes today for this. And can it even be called a chowder if it doesn't have potatoes? I think that's like a really important part of chowder, right? Like I've got in trouble before when I made like a bacon corn sort of style chowder at work. And then if you are serving it to people that live on the coast and are used to a seafood chowder, they're gonna straight up tell you that that's not a chowder. Don't take it to heart, it's okay. We're all used to something different, right? But I will say in culinary school, we are taught, I think it was just the 2 different types of chowders. So the Boston one, that is like the really thick and creamy version of the seafood chowder. And then you have the New England one, which I really like and is more similar to what we're making today, which is like a tomato-based one, a little bit lighter, not as creamy. What else do they say? So just reading on Wikipedia what it says. Chowder is a thick soup prepared with milk or cream, a roux, and seafood or vegetables. So it doesn't actually specify that it has to have potatoes. Hello, Cookie. How are you doing today? Welcome in. We're just going over our chowder extravaganza today. Okay, so the origin of the term chowder is obscure. One possible source is the French word chaudron, which is a word for cauldron, the type of cooking or heating stove in which the first chowders were made on. That kind of makes sense. Where the hell did that fly just come out of? The sink, I'm guessing? The worst. You found my article? The Times columnist one? That's the proper one, Bob. How could you find it? And I can't find it, and it's a Canadian newspaper. You can link it. You shouldn't get kicked out because you're subbed. Because that other link is so hard to read. My gosh. Web archive. The more you know. Thanks, Bob. Okay, let's see if I can open it here. It did. Nice. Okay, so let me see. Compare that to what I linked. I think that's the same. I think it's exactly the same. I don't even have the sweet chili sauce to put in that, but I do have the chipotles. Oh man, I'm getting so excited for this. It's seriously delicious. Hi, Scoots. How are you doing? And Blondie, welcome, guys. Okay, so listen to this. Chowder, as it's known today, originated as a shipboard dish, so it was made on the ships, and it was thickened with the use of hardtack. So hardtack is like a dense biscuit or cracker made from flour, water, and salt. So that was more thickened with like a roux back then, right? Like potatoes were a luxury. Because anything that would be perishable was not taken on the ship. You couldn't afford to do that at that time. So chowder was brought to North America with immigrants from England and France and seafarers more than 250 years ago. It became popular for its flavor and is now widely used for its simple preparation. That was a good little read of the article. Okay, so on our list, we started with the mirepoix, we got the potatoes, we need corn. I just have frozen corn. I don't often buy canned corn. What else? Some spices, yum. So coriander and cumin in here. Anything else that I really have to like prep? We gotta chop up some cilantro for garnish. As well, I think we have green onions left over from yesterday, so we'll use that up. And those are so good on top. Oh, and then we never mentioned this yet, the most important part. The seafood. So this is also kind of a budget meal for me today because I got this on sale. So I got this seafood medley, it said. I've never purchased this before, but it had the Oceanwise symbol on it, so I was kind of okay with that. And everything inside was raw, which I think is important, right? I don't really like buying pre-cooked seafood because a lot of times it turns like very rubbery tasting, let's say. So you could also see through it in the bag, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, I got this for $7.99. What, 2 weeks ago now? So 300 grams of shrimp, scallop, mussel in the shell, and clam meat for $8. I think we'll probably get like 3 or 4 liters of soup today. We're laughing. Thank you, Scoots. Holy. Over the 4-year mark. Insane, you guys. Insane. Thank you very much for being part of the kitchen crew. That is a steal, right? That's what I thought. And they actually had a maximum. You could only buy 2 bags of this at one time. I should have got another bag. But I wasn't sure what the product was like before I bought 2, right? Like, what if it's not that good? So it says to cook on this stovetop, just in boiling water, it will take about 8 minutes. I think we'll open this up and like kind of separate some of the seafood depending on the size. Because usually the mussels take the longest to open up because of their size. And then if everything else is small, like the shrimp, the clams, and the scallop, those are gonna take not long to cook at all, right? So you don't want that stuff to get overcooked while you're waiting for the shellfish to actually open up. Cool though. Okay, anything else here? And then once we have our soup on, we'll get our milling going. I don't think it'll take too long. I guess we'll see. I've milled a spelt flour before from grains. I don't think I've ever milled an einkorn. So why don't we start with this seafood? Check it out. Everyone have a sip of water real quick. What's everyone else getting up to today? I will say, like, I really don't feel like doing much today. I don't know what it is. Anyone else feel like that? Just feeling like such a grumpster today. I like this little vacuum sealed thing, because then it doesn't get freezer burnt either, right? No freezer burnt allowed. We'll just open that up, pour it into a bowl. Maybe just pick the mussels out. Put them on this side, or just put them on top even. Oh, I guess I needed those scissors still. They're gonna get all seafoody. Okay, is this shrimp like cut up? This is interesting. And then, do we want all the juices in there? I'm gonna say we don't want the juices to go into the bowl and into the chowder because it's probably really salty. Same with like how if you just had canned clams, you would drain that. Just kind of hold the bag and let that drain out before we pour it into the bowl. This is cool. You were sluggish getting out of bed this morning? Maybe just because it's really gray outside too. This is like, okay guys, something that I'm taught though, like cooking a lot of seafood over the years. I don't even know if we can use these mussels. I might have to do a quick Google actually. Because, okay, so when you use fresh shellfish like this, it always has to be fully closed when it's live. But this is what I'm thinking. Because it's been frozen, it's going to open up, right? Even if it's raw. This is my thought, right? Yeah, I've only ever cooked fresh mussels. Hello, Mish. How was your day? Okay. Do frozen mussels open up? Frozen mussels may open their shells to breathe. The abductor muscle relaxes as it dies, causing it to open as they're being frozen. Mussels that have been frozen may open while in transit, and it's perfectly safe. If the mussels are frozen prior to cooking, they are already dead. If they're fresh and open, it implies that they have been dead a while and thus been rotting. I love that article. Okay, so mussels, a-okay. What? You made the Italian sausage pasta tonight? That's what we're making on stream tomorrow. Okay, so we got 4 of these mussels, but there is one thing that we have to take care of here. It's usually easier to do when it is closed still because they have a beard. You know what, guys? I might just pick the mussel out of the shell. Since it's already open, that way we can pick the beard out. And so have you guys ever seen how mussels are usually grown or harvested? There's this little beard, we call it. Can you guys see that? It's like a very small, sinewy sort of thing. Ugh, it's gonna be hard to get out now that they're kind of dead right now. But that is where they like attach onto the little like seaweed or rope or whatever and like float along and live. But it's weird and gross if you leave it on and cook it. So we always take that out, no matter if it's really small like that or not. The last part of the article, yeah, just ran away. But we can clearly see this is kind of cool little like comparison. A mussel versus a clam. That's the mussel, that's the clam. So yeah, think about, because I think like every Thursday and Sunday, we would get our fresh mussels in, like, I think 25 pounds at a time for the 30-seat restaurant. Yeah, you'd have to pick every single beard out of there. You get pretty good at it, I will say. Sometimes there isn't one either, or it's hard to see. And it's really not the easiest thing to pick out. You gotta be pretty rough with it. Potato leek soup day? Nom. Nothing in that one. Okay. Okay, and then what is this? What is this? That was a shrimp? Where did they even get these things? These are all shrimps. So we definitely have to cut those up. I think I'm just gonna use the kitchen shears since they're already dirty. And just cut those more to an even size. Where did you get these? Don't buy your seafood at the budget store. No, I'm joking. This is why it was on sale. There's one like proper shrimp and the rest of it's just like insane. Hey, now we know why it cost $8. At the end of the day, as long as it's edible, I'm not gonna complain. Do I wish it was a little bit better of a product? Yeah. But in this economy, please. Don't slice your fingies either when you're doing this. That's why I usually don't use kitchen shears like this. Because like you can see how easy it cuts through the meat. Okay, I'm washing my hands. So I suppose that can just live in the fridge for right now. It's all ready to go. So now that the mussels are already out of the shell, we can put everything in the chowder together. Let's get our potatoes out. Oh, really, wind? Do you hear that, you guys? That's the hood fan. If you don't run the fan and it's windy outside, you get knocking. Hello. Tasty taters. Mish, you didn't answer me. Was the pasta good? The heck? Is there no music right now? It did pause. What the heck is wrong with this thing? I thought it was really quiet. Made it non-spicy because Kim's a baby. I will say, like, I'm using a mild Italian sausage because I find in the past, if you start with a spicy sausage, the pasta gets so spicy. So I'd rather just, like, put a little sprinkle of chili flake in and control the spice. Did you put lots of extra cheeses in it? Wilson, how's it going? How's your weekend? So that's what we'll use for our taters. They look pretty good. I'll still just grab the veggie peeler. Give them a once over. You can't get the proper Italian sausages, so you made a mix of veal, pork, and gulo with the spice mix. So you just made your own Italian sausage blend, not in a casing. Which, that doesn't really matter. I'm proud of you for that. So there's no Italian sausages in Canada. Yeah, things are good here, Wilson. We're surviving. Excited to make some more yummy foods today. And yeah, right, Scooter? Veal pork mix to make your Italian sausages from. That's gonna be better than anything you even buy from the store here. I don't even know if we can get ground veal if you don't go to a butcher shop. So I'm only peeling off the little blemishes, but I love to keep the skin on the golden potatoes. Sounds good, hey Greek? Okay. So whenever we eat a soup or anything really with a spoon, you want it easy to eat so that you can get a little bit of everything in each bite. So let's not cut our potatoes too big. Maybe let's say 1/2-inch cubes. And cutting them this size won't take very long for them to cook either in the soup. Maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Oops, I forgot to cut that one in thirds to start. What's the proper Italian sausage? Just pork? Yeah, I would say most sausages in North America that you buy are made from pork. Maybe if you're like at a halal butcher shop or like the butcher shop we went to on the island, Glenwood, they made like a bacon cheeseburger sausage with beef. My God. I've never had a better one since. I love the flavor of fennel though in the Italian sausages. So I always feel like it's not really an Italian sausage if it doesn't have like the fennel seeds in there. That's just me though. You had to go to the store today to get fennel? I know I have fennel seeds, so we'll see tomorrow how the sausages taste. You can always add a little bit extra if I think there's not enough. What is fennel? So fennel is a bulb, and then it's also a seed that is used as a spice. Good one, Greek. So yeah, the bulb and both the seed, it tastes like licorice. And as far as like licorice goes, it's definitely not my favorite flavor by any means. Something about fennel though is just different. I don't know, it's kind of addicting. Like I used a lot of it at the restaurant on the island. And so like as I was prepping it, I started to snack on it raw. And then I got really obsessed with it. And then I started to understand like why the Italians always eat it before and after their meals, because it's good for digestion. Wayne, did it make it worse?
I think so.
So we got the building manager to call the neighbors upstairs because they've been bad lately, and I think it made it worse. Salsiccia? You gotta get the salsiccia. The amount of times that I've heard that word, Frank, because I grew up with a lot of Italian and Portuguese friends. Not the salsiccia. Fennel in your chicken curry. Yum, samovar. Would have never thought to do that, actually. Like the bulb or the seed? You're making ranch-style tater salad? No, we're not. Nike, are you done your drawing yet, dude? My favorite. Okay. Let me look at the recipe really quick. Where are we at? Fennel and star anise are also related flavors. Yes, yeah, star anise has that licorice sort of flavor too. A little of the diced bulb samovar, nice. And we could also say fennel goes really good with seafood too. So like we could easily put a little bit into the chowder today and it'd be really good. Okay. Corn next. Measure out some corn. I'm gonna do 2 cups worth of frozen corn, I think, or maybe a cup and a half. The Greek use fennel. Oh yes, is that what ouzo is made of? My mom was really obsessed with that. Just calling my mom out on the internet. Okay, Greek, you tell us. I mean, we have the Greek here. How do you spell it? Isn't it O-U-Z-O? Frank's in Sweden, so there's a little bit of a miscommunication for spelling, that's all. But I knew what he meant. Orzo is a pasta, but ouzo is a liqueur. That's what I got. While I'm over here, I'll grab the coconut milk and the can of tomatoes, as well as the chipotle peppers. And then you need the 2 spices still. This is my last can of San Marzano. Then we gotta get more. Thank you, Michael. I will do that. Scoots, you had ouzo once, it's strong. Yeah, like that flavor of fennel is way too much for me. And I think that's why I didn't like fennel at first. Because like when your parents have it, like you want to have a sip, right? Ugh, I just still remember it. Does the hallway even lead anywhere, Samovar? It leads around this whole corner and then it goes all the way down and that's the front door. So it's actually kind of cool. Like, we don't hear nothing from the communal hallway. Trekker, how are you doing? Welcome in. Alti, you're back. We got the corn. And so yeah, down that hallway, Samovar, we have 3 metal, like, baking racks, let's say, with all of my streaming, like, ingredients and tools, appliances, stuff like that. I'm slowly downsizing it to hopefully only have 2. Can I ship it over? The corn? What? Or the soup? The corn's getting like freezer burn. We gotta make something else with corn coming up. Yeah, as much as it can be like a little bit of a pain to go back and forth when we're streaming, you're right. It's really nice to have all that stuff not in the living space. A corn chowder. Oh no, Frank's all out of ouzo. You put it in chili con carne? You guys are wild. Absolutely wild. Okay, that's just going to thaw. You ever do that when you're young? Eat like frozen corn and peas? I do. Still do even. Holy. Yeah, there's no way that all of my stuff would fit in here. So I tried to keep just mostly like plates and cutlery and bowls and like your everyday spices just in here. And then the other side's like kind of a beverage station with cups and teas, coffee, stuff like that. It took a while to get everything sorted, but I think it's workable now. Okay, back over. We got some things to open up. I'm just gonna give this a little wipe on the top. Looks kind of dusty. We're not gonna use the whole can of chipotle, so we'll be sure to freeze what we don't use, and I'll probably just like pour out a lot of the liquid. And so the seafood cost $8 in this today, and then I got our 2 cans of coconut milk for $3 on sale at this store. So we're only at $11 for like the things that we bought and didn't have already in the house. That's not bad. Because what is a like liter bag of pre-made soup at the store? I'm pretty sure it's like $9 to $11 for that now. But we're gonna get 3 to 4 times that amount. How are the deals there? They were not bad at the beginning of the month. But when I looked at the flyer like this week, because I always look on Wednesday, everything was expensive again. Like they had everything on sale, but it was $1 to $2 more like per pound or whatever than the previous week. So I didn't even go to Save on Foods this week and buy anything. We're living off the land. Actually, I'm gonna give this a shake before we open it because it's always... I don't even know if I can mix it together even. I think this is gonna be a good one. There's always that like really thick layer of the coconut cream on top. And then just a little bit of the water underneath. You liked the giant Loblaws that was in Camrose? Everyone loves Loblaws. Who was telling me this yesterday? It was Ampersand. These like last 2 weeks, they've had like some of their highest profits yet. How? Who's had these before? They're pretty nice to have, to use in different things. Beware, it will really spice up your life though. Chipotle peppers and adobo. that's how it is when you open the can. This one looks pretty dang thick. Sometimes I'm able to just like kind of drain out the liquid. And what this is, water, our chipotle pepper. So what a chipotle pepper is a smoked jalapeno. We got our peppers, onion, tomato, vinegar, salt, oil, sugar, condiments, and spices. So there's a lot of flavor in this too already, right? So you just need coriander and cumin for our other spices. I usually like to get my cans kind of pre-prepped for loading into the pot. It goes quick. I love it, Trekker. Never say sorry for a Spice Girls reference in this stream, ever. Every boy, every girl, spice up your life, people in the world. I'm pretty sure I listened to that song not long ago. Maybe on a walk recently. People didn't know that as they were driving by. Okay, we'll put that over by the stove. And let's just say this is how you know that it's a good quality coconut milk. When it's not just liquid. So you need that solid fat on top. Otherwise, you're just paying for water. You had the CD? Okay, there's this fruit fly that came out of nowhere. You guys remember when I would try and kill all the black flies in the summer on stream? With the towel? I definitely... Was it the CD? Yeah, it was the CD. The Spice World. It wasn't the cassette. I remember having this little, like... What is it? Ghetto blaster? Is that what they're all called still? Stereo? I didn't have a Walkman. I just had the little stereo where you put the CD on the top and then it like, has a little handle. The ghetto blaster, right? Yeah. And so I still remember just on the Spice Girls thing, like the only ever time I had a temper tantrum in a store, I remember this, like I knew what I was doing. I chose violence that day. I wanted this magazine that had all of these Spice Girl posters in it so I could hang them in my room, and there was like stickers in the magazine. And my parents just said like, no, we're not getting this today. I remember throwing an insane fit for that magazine. I can't recall whether I got it or not. But yeah, thanks for the memories. Yeah, the Discman that would skip when you would carry it. Okay, how about, I love how we keep like going back. Yesterday we were always talking about the 90s on stream too. When they first came out with the portable DVD players for the cars and you take it on a road trip and then that skips if the road's rough and you just like give up watching anything. Thanks for that, guys. Mish. You're so in heck for that. Okay, what else do we need? We have the corn. We'll probably use a little bit of olive oil to get the veggies started. We got our onion, carrot, celery, and garlic already together. Potato, coriander, and cumin. I was a get 'em kid. I was. The one with the clips on the side that claimed it was unskippable, but we all knew the truth. Oh, a ghetto kid. I didn't think I was I? I thought I lived a really good life. Okay, salt and pepper, that's in the cupboard. We got our tomatoes, coconut milk. So I don't usually add the sweet chili sauce into this because I don't like it super sweet. But she said if you don't want the sweet chili sauce, you could also just use honey to balance in the end. We got our chipotles. If you want extra hot sauce, go for it, but I'm not gonna do that. A little bit of Worcestershire sauce, or Worcestershire sauce. But my grandma will tell you it's called Worcestershire. Believe me, she's been there. And then just some cilantro for garnish with our green onions. You got hand-me-down clothes from your other relatives? I didn't really get that, just with how like we all timed out with cousins. Ooh, the rooster sauce. That is the best brand, Jiggles. For the sweet chili. Frank, I was ghetto with the blaster and all. That's almost an Annie command. Almost. Okay, we just need the Worcestershire sauce and then we're good. We'll get everything started. I told you it was pretty quick and easy, this one. This is the biggest container because we used to use it for the jerky marinades. And then we had friends bring us 3 more containers. So now I'm just swimming in Worcestershire sauce. But I'm pretty sure it doesn't go bad. We need a bigger pot. Get the big in. Has anyone ever had a seafood chowder that is similar to this? Because I've often not seen any other chowders like this one. And let's say this. So my dad is one of the people that has the cilantro soap gene. So he doesn't often eat it. But this soup, like, he fucks with hard. Same with like Thai coconut curries and stuff. So maybe there's something about like the coconut with the cilantro that kind of dulls the flavor. I don't know. Something to think about. It's kind of like soy sauce, just loses water and gets more concentrated over time. Yeah, the Worcestershire. Really, Samovar. I do have this like really old bottle of oyster sauce. Yeah, it's still good though. I don't know if I'll ever go through it. It's true. J-Frick? Tom Kagai? Like, oh. Thank you, Jiggles, for the Prime Gaming sub. I know you only get 1 per month, so thanks for using it here. 27 months in a row. Being part of the kitchen crew. The oyster sauce thins out in the fridge. I'm just bringing you guys closer here so we can start cooking. I gotta move some things. We're gonna raise you up a little bit so you can see more in the pot. Ta-da. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna turn that on to medium. Just go quickly grab our olive oil. And then we need a spoon. A spoon for stirring. One thing I like to add at the end for balancing flavors on this chowder too is lime. Whether it's zest or juice. But I'll usually use that like with the honey to balance out the sweet versus sour flavors. You've only had this chowder with scallops and clam. That would still be really good. Interesting, Samovar. So yeah, the oyster sauce, I will say the one I have in the fridge is really, really thick. So you're saying it thins out over time. This one is the best. We were talking yesterday on stream actually about this olive oil. And you can get this brand from Costco. We were saying it's really good. because it's organic, it's non-GMO, and it's first cold pressed, as well as you can trace where it's from, which means it's singular origin, not a blend. I'm just scooping out our little mirepoix mix here while the pot's heating up. Try and just think about, like, if you have something like this made at home, just think about how much carrot, onion, and celery you would use. Kind of eyeball it from there. I mean, this is all grated fine, so I'll probably stop there. We can always add more, though, if once it starts cooking, I feel like it's not enough. Are they doing GMO olive trees? I'm assuming, like, in California and stuff, yeah. Really, Scoots? So in America and some places, that Costco doesn't carry that olive oil. Terra de Lisa. This is mine, Samovar. Here, I'll show you over here. Wait, you said rooster, right? Look at it. Look at it. It's technically not even supposed to be alive anymore. So maybe the brand you are buying is bad. It shouldn't even be alive. Okay, let me grab a spoon. Your bestest, fastest food is Thai soup. You buy them in Tetra Packs. $4 a liter? Yeah, I was saying ours are like $8 a liter here. It's still a little frosty, this stuff, so I just gotta spread it out a bit. So that won't have to cook for very long because this stuff's already been cooked once, right? Just kind of getting it heated through. I think we can add a bit more though. That's good though, we put a good dent in this finally. I still have another container to use. What is this again? We are making a seafood chowder today. But it's called a Pacific Rim seafood chowder. So it's dairy-free. And let's say it has some influence from the Pacific Rim. So like the Asias. Thank you, Mish, for posting that. So there's coconut milk, there's cumin, coriander, chipotle, corn, cilantro, tomatoes. Almost like a curry chowder, let's say. If you're trying to imagine how the heck it's all gonna taste together. Even on a hot day though, I will say, when I had it in August, it was so yummy. Okay, so we will want to kind of toast up our spices a bit. Do a little sprinkle of each. Cumin I usually go a bit less of than the coriander, and usually I will scoop it out rather than try and sprinkle it, just because it can be like quite overpowering. So let's just do a teaspoon of that. Hold on to that spoon so we can scoop out some chipotles. Give that a stir. It's gonna get nice and aromatic. So steamy in here today. What's the yellow base? So once upon a time, I was gonna go work out of town, and I had a fridge full of food. So all I did was took my food processor and grated my carrot, onion, celery, and garlic that I had that I didn't want to go bad, and cooked it down in butter for like 2 to 3 hours until there was barely any moisture left. What do I want to add next, guys? Oh, I almost forgot one thing that we had for this too, which is our shrimp broth. And I might actually just add that broth next. It's still frozen a bit. This has been out of the freezer since like Thursday. So we're going to pour in our broth, and then after that we can pour in everything else. But I usually do this because it deglazes the bottom really easily. The ice cube. So I make the shrimp broth by just boiling shrimp shells with water. Anyone else like cilantro but understand how people say it tastes like soap all the time? For sure. And like some cilantro that you get is definitely more soapy than others, let's say, right? Okay, let's start adding some flavor. So add as much or as little chipotle as you want. I'm just gonna leave them whole, I think. Let's go. How much more should I do? One more like little scoop like this of just the adobo. We can always add more later on. But I don't want it too dang spicy to eat, right? I'm probably not gonna use all of those either. Yeah, I'll go like that to start, because that's a big can of tomatoes. And so we'll bring this broth together, and you can see like the chipotle and the tomatoes kind of whole. They usually call for crushed tomato, but I'll probably just take that chipotle, the pieces out, and then blitz up the tomato. Whoa, look at that. It's just all fat. I haven't had coconut milk in a while. I'm excited for this. It's been so expensive recently. It's already starting to come together. Is this gonna fall in if I come back over? No. Okay. I'm gonna come over and chat for a couple of seconds. Kiwi? Okay, maybe I was wrong then. The Pacific Rim? Well, I've looked it up and it's like kind of all along there. Okay, you're right, J Frick. I think that makes more sense with the ingredients anyways. Other than the coconut milk, right? It's like Asian and Mexican. Because Baja California is on the Pacific Rim, he says. But coconut milk is not Mexican. Yeah, that canned tomato, I will say, like, I never really believed the hype about the San Marzano brand of these tomatoes. But now that I've used them, I can't go back. Just the flavor and like the texture they bring to everything is so much different than the other brands that I find are just so like watery. It's just tomatoes and water, not actual pulp. And also, yeah, just this flavor in the tomatoes makes a difference. What's that trick of like looking at the date or the special number on the can to see when it's harvested? so that you know that the tomato was harvested at like the perfect ripeness. Some people are so crazy with their canned tomatoes. Samovar, you ordered the spicy jambalaya at a small hipster restaurant once, and they literally couldn't, and you literally couldn't finish it? What? That sucks. See, I hate when it's too spicy that you can't actually eat it all, because that's a waste of the food. You buy a gallon of coconut milk a week and you pay $4.59. That is really good, Wilson. So I had those 2 cans for $3. Is that the neighbors you hear? It probably was. I don't know. Comment of the day from the starter recipe. Okay, someone actually called the baker's hotline. I've always wondered, Mish. The only suggestion she had was to essentially start over, put a line on your starter crock to see if it rises. Still not doubling in volume after 40 pounds of flour feeding? I think you should have stopped at the 1 pound. You had some chili at your Super Bowl party? 1 spoonful made your tongue and lips go numb, jiggles? Ah! That's when you know. Okay, I think I'll pop the lid on here while it's coming up. And we're not gonna add the potatoes yet either, right? Because we don't want them to get blitzed up. Just a little splash of this. That's probably more than enough. You guys know that this Worcestershire sauce has anchovies in it, right? That's probably why they're adding it. You could probably even just do fish sauce if you didn't have this. It may have something to do with the can. When you put a can in front of the camera, it makes a pounding noise. In front of the stove cam? That's a lot of soup scoops. Not that much yet. I was saying I usually try to make 3 to 4 liters. But then usually 1 portion for me is like half a liter. So I'll usually eat the 3 liters and then put 1 in the freezer away for Samo. That was the plan. Okay, while we're waiting for this, let's get the grain mill set up and such. Do we want to set the mill up here together, or you want me to just set it up on the side because it's pretty dang loud from previous streams? Oops. You freaking love jambalaya and gumbo and you still couldn't finish it? You were sad? The mill can? We could do that. We're still having issues? I'm just gonna tear apart the whole setup, I think, with the audio when Sam's home. We're just gonna redo it all. Because we didn't always have those issues. Also, those just like don't make sense to me, you know? Maybe I should put the other view on the stove. Only near the hoodie? The hoodie? Oh. Because I put on my little fuzzy on the mic today. That was a suggestion. And well, it didn't help, my wonderful people. Oh, it's okay. Don't even be sorry. I mean, one thing about being a streamer is like you really want your broadcast to be good, right? Be enjoyable for people to watch. So when there's audio issues, man, that can make you like click away from a stream so fast. Try to blow gently into the mic. I just did. I'm just laughing because every time I went to set up this mill on stream, it gives me issues. Just gonna give it a little shake out over this sink because the last thing we milled was corn. And I just want all of it to be out of there. There's one more, I think. Open it wider. That's cool, actually. I've never really, like, looked underneath this part of the mill. Probably see closer over here. Look at that. So that's how we mill the grain. So that goes together, and then I can turn this to make it finer. $111? Nice. Thanks for seeing the angel number, Wilson. It went on really good this time, actually. Just because I say it never works, this is the time it does. You see it every day. I don't always see the same number. I think the one I see the most, though, is usually 333. So now it got turned on its side. That says stop, so we don't go any further. I usually just do a quick little run first to make sure there's no bad sounds. And then I also always keep the instructions with my different attachments. Run the machine on medium speed, same with the meat grinder. The mill is designed for grinding grains, dried herbs, spices, poppy seeds, mushrooms. Dried, right? All this stuff's dried. Soybeans, coffee beans. I will say we've milled corn in here for grits. It was very loud, and I think that was like really pushing it, but it's happened. Give this a stir really quick. Let's bring our grains over. So this is what we are milling today. Organic farro grain, aka derived from Einkorn, one of the most ancient grains out there. Do you have a large mortar and pestle? Yes. I need more scissors. Oh, Coke! Hello! How are you doing? I was actually thinking about you today. That's funny that you popped by. I was like, it's been a little while. I wonder if he's okay. He's okay. I'm gonna plug this in. Maybe that's why the internet's weird sometimes. For a little extra rotor. Why? What do you want me to do with the mortar and pestle? Okay, so I'm not really like gonna measure out, I don't think, what we need. So I have a smaller mortar and pestle that is wooden, a hand-me-down from my grandparents. But then the large thing that I have is the molcajete for like making guac and stuff like that. And that is all stone. Speaking of sound, the mic sounds crisp without doing what it was in the past streams that you can pick up. Well, thank you very much for that, Michael. So we're making a little bit of progress. Hey, slow progress is still progress. Okay, so we're simmering. We'll let that simmer out. Couple moments, get those tomatoes softened. Maybe we'll just pop this little lid a crack while that's going. It's been a bit up and down. It'll get better though. You're working on it. Yes, it will, my guy. Hi, yet it is. Welcome in. I might turn that down a bit more. Let's just come over here. Turn it down to like 3. And then why don't we just do like a 10-minute simmer on those tomatoes? Should be lots. Okay, so I poured out the einkorn into this bowl. You feed with this bowl. It gets milled into the other one, which you can't really see. I could bring the other camera over though. We'll set that up again. And this will probably take like a good half an hour because we have to blend this to the point where it feels like actual flour. And then you have to sift all of your bran and stuff out. I've never gone through this complete process yet, I will say that. Give me a sec, I'll set up the mill cam. That was my sink, if you were wondering what the heck. Let's see how this looks. Aha! Winning! There we go, my people. Okay, so medium speed. I'll probably turn the mic down a bit as we're starting this because it's usually pretty loud the first couple passes. So, we know that the mill is too open for it to grind it, or actually mill the grain. So we'll just close it after it passes out. Hey, it's always better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to be wrecking your attachment by making a mistake like that. So I always go to the farthest open, and then we can close it from there. Okay if there's a couple little grains that flow through. So I'll go a good couple turns. Still like not quite. I'm gonna close it even finer. One thing I like about this is you can close it while it's milling. Oh wow. That is not nearly as loud as the corn was. Can we... No, that looks close enough. So it's just kind of cracking some of the bigger grains right now. Is that not too bad on the audio, guys? You know where you want to go, Oko. You just have to figure out to get how to get there. I think a lot of us are feeling that right now. You're not alone, that's for sure. Thank you, my peoples, for the audio check. It's working. Peeking at the soup, it's looking good. Thanks, Cookie. 1,799 bits. Did you even it up? Yeah, you did. 87% of the way through our solar goal. And hello, Princess Marceline. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. We are milling some Einkorn grain right now. Because I'm starting a sourdough adventure. I hope you're doing good too. Almost done with this pass, so I can also see we can even go like finer. It's so soft compared to corn. This is nice. Thank you very much for the follow. Nice. Not gonna talk to them, guys, because they're not subs, so they won't be able to hear me anyways during the ad. This is really satisfying, I will say. Yep. So yeah, you have to gradually turn your mill. If it's like this version, you have to start with a very open mill so that you don't destroy it, right? And then as you go along, you slowly make it tighter and tighter, and that makes the grind finer and finer. Where did I get the grains, Cookie? I went to the farmer's market this morning. So it was only like a 10-minute drive away. And all I did was kind of Google search at first if there was organic local grains that I could buy somewhere in Alberta, right? We still got a little bit coming out here. And so this company came up, or the farm came up. What is it called? Gold Forest Grains. I'll show you the bag right now. And I saw, so you can go pick it up from their farm, but that was such a far drive for me. But I saw that they had a little booth at the farmer's market. So I got this 1 kilo of organic einkorn for $11 Canadian, which I think is a pretty fair price if I was to go look at like how much just all-purpose flour costs these days. And yeah, I was able to talk to the owner of Gold Forest Grains. I gave her a business card so she could watch the show. It was nice. It was really nice. So yeah, she also told me that einkorn is one of those ancient grains where spelt is actually derived from einkorn. So it's very, very old, which is why a lot of people don't have issues digesting it. Really, Frank? Did a controlling computer upgrade on an industrial plant once? Beautiful mills painted maroon red with glass tubes to like keep all the dust and stuff inside. Whoa. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do a few passes, because, like, this is almost fully closed, and it's pretty coarse still. I have milled spelt flour before with this, and we got it pretty fine, I will say. Almost done with this round. But yeah, she said that people that come to her that want to buy grains that have some wheat digesting issues, this is the grain that they always get, and it doesn't affect them. Because it will start to get dusty, it's true. Look at how much finer that's coming out, though. Can I lift this? I want to, like, show you the different angle. Look at that. That looks like flour. What else can you make with this grain? So if you're not milling it, you can cook the grain whole. And I will say it's really delicious. Like, you treat it kind of like a quinoa grain. You can make salads from it. Farro is really delicious. It's got this like meaty sort of chewy texture. She said she really likes to make cream soups and then put farro into it and let it cook through and soften. This is my mixer. Mish, thank you very much. Rain showers on the forecast tonight. Yeah, it's an awesome attachment. For the few times that we've used it, I'm really thankful to have it. Because, like, to buy, what is it called? A magic mill or something? I think they're like thousands of dollars. Where this was only a couple hundred. Sometimes it needs help getting pushed in. Maybe one day I'll work up to getting a magic mill. Because it just looks so easy to use. But for now, this is just fine. Just gonna give our soup a little stir back here. She's really simmering. Turning it down a bit. I love the pile it starts to make. Okay, that's basically it. When I start to like kind of hear that grinding, that's when it's time. Because we don't want the metal to grind together without anything as a barrier. I haven't hit the limit yet for how fine we can go, so this is looking great actually. Hi Daff! It's Chowder, Frenchie. Hello, Goat Farmer Bluesy. Welcome in. How's your weekend? Look at the top, it's kind of satisfying. I never showed you yet. Even just watching that, just the little bit that falls in at a time. Why is that so nice? It really is hypnotizing. Okay, after this pass, we're gonna take a little break and we're gonna go blitz up our soup. The weekend thing? I don't know. I mean, I never got weekends for a long time in my life, so I feel you. That's for sure. No, so the feeder, Frank, is like just has this slight little angle on it that it just feeds it, usually with gravity. Sometimes I tap it though if it seems like it's not going in enough. So we only run the mixer on half speed with this attachment, same with the meat grinder attachment. That's obviously like the proper revolutions for how everything's designed, right? Where nothing gets wrecked. I like when that happens, you guys find each other from other streams. It's like, are you following me around? Get the last of that in there, and then we know when it's done, we can go to the soup. It really feels nice though, like just the feeling of how that flour is from the grain. Whoa. So silky. Hello, Andy B. What's happening? Welcome in. Okay, I'm gonna put that soup base away. That's it, I think. As soon as you hear that grinding, we'll stop it. But look, I shouldn't have wrecked the pile. We made flour. We're almost there. I'm gonna say like 3 more passes and we should be good to go. And then we'll sift that bran out. I also posted this in our Discord, what I was watching to learn about the flours and stuff that they used for their sourdough. So the bran that we sift out, we keep that and we can use in other things. I'm just gonna switch the view, which is why I turned it to this cam for now. And I'll grab my little immersion blender. We're gonna give this a blitz. Thank you for posting the link to the mixer, Cookie, for red syrup. So we simmered our tomatoes in the soup broth with the coconut milk, the chipotle pepper, carrot, onion, celery, garlic, olive oil, cumin, coriander. I think that's all so far. Oh, and a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. So you can use your blender or just the immersion blender like I'm gonna do. Interesting yet it is. It probably kind of works like that. Came too close a bit. When it recommends similar channels like that. So if you used diced or crushed tomatoes, you wouldn't have to blend this. But I really like to use whole tomatoes. Just find the texture that it gives is so nice and the flavor is better. Get the boat motor. Alvar Lenning is the designer of the original Ankarsrum. And then also on the forum, I was reading about this mill attachment. It's made by a company actually in Germany. And yes, it is, Mr. Johnny Rodden. This is gluten-free, it's dairy-free, everyone can eat it, unless you're allergic to seafood. Or any other ingredient in it. I'm gonna actually go this way. Always go on the lowest power setting. Should we just blend the chipotle in, guys? We're doing it. We're committing. I'm gonna turn this off so it's not bubbling as we go. And so then it's pretty thin right now because we haven't put any potato in. So that's gonna be going in next after we blend this. And then the potato will thicken this broth with the starch that it releases as it cooks. And then at the end, we just add our corn and our seafood. Sprinkle our couple of herbies on top. That's what I hate happening. Fine, we'll tip the pot. This is the lowest setting and it's almost too powerful still. Look at how silky that just got though. There's like a sheen on top. That's good, I just see some pepper seeds and stuff floating around. Look at that color. Hey, turn it back on. I'm also gonna wipe off this little bit that I splashed. We'll go back onto medium heat. Get those taters in there. Don't splash when you pour them in. Let's give that a stir. Ankarsrum is a place in Sweden. The word itself doesn't mean anything. I wonder. Where's our resident Googler? Holy. Just giving that a blend like totally changed how the soup felt. It already is thickened. And then I will say, like, everyone kind of makes their chowder different. Some people like when the potatoes start to fall apart. I don't like when they get too soft. I still like to know that there are like pieces of potato in there. Not just all cooked down to nothing. Just gonna rinse the blender top so stuff doesn't get all stuck on there. And then I usually leave like the chipotles, all the spices and stuff like that near the pot until we've tasted it and are happy with it. Because you might need to adjust some of those flavors later on. That's why I'm not putting any of that stuff away yet. So we'll get that mill turned on again. Get back into our flour land. We're almost there. Welcome in, FCB. How are you doing? Here, I won't go like medium. So I'll just kind of watch that on this side. You miss your time watched, Nike, and your sub badge? It's okay. I mean, we still all know and love you regardless. Sometimes just your presence is more important than numbers. We can still gamble? Nice cookie. Living life. Okay, we're gonna switch this out because the mill was already making sounds earlier, so we're close, right? If I put that in between my hands, woo, that's pretty silky smooth. But we're going more. Sometimes you build gluten in your nostrils when you're milling. Just be aware. Be aware. Ankarsrum city is near the east coast of Sweden, south of Stockholm. There's our medium speed. Away we go. Thank you, Frank. Now we know. Ankarsrum, it's not just a brand, it's a city. So we have to go there one day, hey, to visit. So I'll also say the farm that I bought these grains from, they also sell milled flours. Just I thought, hey, why would I pay someone else to do that for me when I have that at home? I might not have the most perfect of mills, but what's the point to have it if I don't use it? Soup is just coming up to a simmer here. Why don't we set another 10-minute timer on that? Thank you, FCB. Nice, another super long one. 40 months in a row. Can't think of something to say, so I push this button instead. Thanks, dude. Oh, really, Mish? Is that what it is? Your computer won't let you Google Swedish things. Okay, since we are almost ready to add the seafood to the soup, I'm just gonna take it out of the fridge so it's not like cold. Look it, we're making a flour mountain. To me, that's kind of how you can tell your flour is getting fine enough that it will like build that very sharp triangular shape. Because you saw before as we started milling, it just kind of made this little like weird mound. Interesting. Oh, and we gotta chop our cilantro too when we put this in. Boom. Seafood for soup. Temping up. We just got another resub. Vicky! Thank you for the 26 months in a row. How have you been? And so, Cookie, you're saying the milled flours, like pre-milled, don't last all that long anyway. So that was my thought too, right? Is like, I'll just mill what I need. And even just eyeballing this is gonna be way more than what I need. So I probably used not even a quarter of the kilo. Maybe 150 grams of grain. Sweep up some of these little pieces and put them back in. Actually, I'm gonna grab a little spatula when I go over here. Just so I don't get my hands all floury every time we push that. Ah, I can hear the metal. There we go. So then think about, because a lot of stuff we get is also stone milled, where this is all like metallic pieces. Think of how hard that stone is for those mills. Cilantro. Do you have the cilantro soap, Jean? Whoa! You guys are nuts today. Vicky. I gotta turn that off. Thank you so much. 2,600 bits. We were just at 87%. And now we're at 90. In moments. Cookie's like, here, let me do this real quick. 399. Did we get one? Choo choo. A level 2 already, 80%. My people. Mish, thank you for the 1. Okay, we got 5 minutes still till we go over to the soup. There's nothing left in there. Let's make a switch. Yay! FCB, thanks for the 1,000. Goat Farmer Bluesy, 100. Look at our mountain. I'm just gonna turn it all the way to the finest it will go, and we'll probably do 2 more passes. Get a little sifting action in. Complete. Now it's gonna start to get really dusty too, the finer we go. Wow. That's looking so good. Once again, I have to pick this up so you guys can see. Ah! Nice and close. You should change your name, Bluesy. You sold half of your goats. You're changing to a cash crop? What's the cash crop? Cash crop farmer Bluesy. Good thing we have that other bowl. I think we'll need it. We made so much. And then after this, I'm gonna take a little bathroom break too before we finish this soup. We've been cruising today. Nice. Gifting the subby to Goat Farmer Bluesy. Bye. Have fun. Sorghum Farmer Bluesy. Welcome in, my friend. Sorghum is so delicious. What did we used to make? Sorghum butter, I think, on our bagels at the brewery? You'll grow wheat, barley, corn, and clover, and grasses. Fun! Something sounded insane. It was just the mill, though. The flour, like, kind of compacts now that it's really fine. That's exactly what it should be. What do we got on our timer? 2 minutes, 2.5. So now it's taking 2.5 minutes per pass. That's not bad. Okay, lower the pile because it starts to get staticky and go everywhere. Now you get to be part of the kitchen crew for real. Almost done. I see a little bit turning in the auger still. Yeah, of course, most grains are actually grasses. But let's not nitpick. As soon as I hear that weird metallic kind of running sound, I'll stop the mill. So let's check this. I said we needed 1 more after this, and I think that still is true. But whoa. Compared to what the heck we started with. I'm just gonna go stir our soup over here. It's really like bubbling like a cauldron. Turn down the heat just a little bit. It was scary looking, you know? Someone could get hurt. Plus, we don't want the potatoes to stick to the bottom of the pot. Okay. We're gonna go one more because I still felt a little bit of bran granules, let's say. I have to be careful now that it doesn't just like floof everywhere. And then I'm gonna do really quick, like 1 moment bathroom break while we got this set. Don't go anywhere. It like totally compacted while it was in there and like stayed in a pyramid and wouldn't fall down. It like made a cave. A flower cave. Thanks for the level 2 hype train, guys. Appreciate all of you. Just being here, really. It barely even looks like anything's coming out now, hey? But it is. Stir these potatoes again. Have some water. Yeah, the stone mill, they're either turned by wind or water. Those are so amazing to watch. Twitch let you cook bath salts live? What? Who's doing that? That's actually why we bought it, Frank. Yeah, it comes with a 7-year warranty. And I will say their service is really good too. But with those other mills, like the magic mill, do you still have to do a couple passes, or you just put the grains in once and that's it? It makes the flour. What is it? We're making flour. Making flour today out of grain. Just get the last little bit into there. from this, I'm making sourdough starter. We're making flowers. There's still a little bit coming out. When we hear the weird noise, that's when we know. You're coloring the beef and ched now? Every time I read that, I want one. Okay. So, we started with this. What did that take us? About 30 minutes probably total. And now we have this. So we gotta sift the bran out of the flour. That's the outer husk, let's say, that protects the seed. Did you know flour suspended in air can explode from static electricity? Dangerous? That's crazy. I've also heard some weird ones with like the bakers will develop like lung issues because they're always around flour so often. That like scared me from a young age. So I'm just gonna take apart the mill. Maybe I'll leave this here. Flour mills in the old days were dangerous. You should add some creme de liche to the flour. Not if we're making sourdough. You crazy butt. I mean, who knows? Maybe it would make the most amazing sourdough ever. I don't know. But I'm not thinking that. Not that messy, I will say. I thought there would be a lot more stuff all over. This ain't bad. You were evacuated from the mill once? Because they thought there was gonna be an explosion? Dust detectors. Imagine that as a job. Hello, I am here to detect your dust. Ready for this, Mish? This one looks like a pirate. Wait, Dust isn't here this weekend, so he can't put jokes. Oh shit. Let's do up our little cord first. Interesting, Nike. The fire department even came. That's better for sure. Yeah, being a bud tender. What the heck? It's only 2 o'clock. Okay, I'm just moving our other camera back to the soup. We're gonna take a peek really quick. Dumbo. Look at those bubbles. The potatoes will always try to stick to the bottom because the starch. Usually when I start to see the skin falling off the outside, that's when you know the taters are getting good. That means they're kind of falling apart. I'll just take my paring knife and like give one a poke. Because it was hard to tell. For a nice big one too. Okay, so I can poke through. So it's cooked, but not like as soft as I would want it. So why don't we let that cook another 5 minutes at least together to get more starch in and get it thickened before we add the corn and the seafood. Amp, no one ever called the fire department over concerns of fire in the cheese making area. Imagine a cheese fire? Just wiping off the flour from the board. Speaking of fires, it's like you guys summon them every time. Get out of here. Never a case of burning fella. Now I want Saganaki. Please. Okay, where is my fine mesh strainer? One thing I will have to pick up now that I am milling my own grains is called a tammy sieve. The one where it's like the round bamboo with just the straight mesh and you can just like tap it back and forth. Much more useful than something like this, which is used more in cooking, let's say, rather than baking. I'm just gonna get a larger bowl to put underneath to catch the flour as we sift. And then I'll put a little 5-minute timer on for the soup. We have a grass fire that started today that's closed both of the interstates out of the city. That's insane, Scooter. I mean, I was just reading an article the other day where here in Canada, there's already 100 wildfires that have still been smoldering from last summer and they started to pop up again. I'm like, it's still the middle of winter. That's crazy. So this isn't even as fine of a mesh that you can go, but this is what I got. So let's see what we end up with. Yeah, working in a cheese factory, holy, I'm sure you have to be so careful with your hygiene. Zombie wildfire still going underneath the BC snow cover. Yep. Because a lot of time the fire will like get into the tree roots under the ground. And if you don't take the time to put that out properly, any sort of little bit of wind is gonna just take that little bit of smolder and pick that fire back up again. This is working great. I'm just gonna switch arms because it's kind of hard. Get it going more. Shake it up. Give it like a little tap too on the sides. It doesn't look like there's that much bran that we're gonna sift out. So this is like the stuff that, let's say they're taking out of your whole wheat flour. Or your white flour, sorry. So this is the stuff you won't get in your all-purpose flour. But there's still a good use for it, right? I think that's basically done now. It all feels the same texture. Just gonna tap around the edges and get that last little bit. You use a soup spoon to press down the sieve. I usually do that with liquids, but this seems to be good. Oh my gosh. That was so loud. Did you hear that? I thought there was like someone in the house just now. I think they're just in the hallway though. This is so cool looking. I'm just gonna clean up this edge. Get it into its two separate forms. So there's our bran, the outer part of the green, and then this is all kind of the inner part. That feels pretty good. Pretty good. I'm not saying it's perfect. Like I can still feel some granules in here. I think for the starter, it's okay. If we were to go ahead and try and use this flour to make like an actual bread from, it might not work the best. So I'd do probably another couple passes through the mill to get it finer. I don't know, it's a learning process, right? This is a first for me, so let's see how it goes. Okay, we're gonna mix up our sourdough just right at the end of the stream before we finish today. So let's just put this to the side. Cause like, let's be honest, I'm getting kind of hungry. It's lunchy time. Amp, I just saw that. Use a massage gun to sift it quicker. Look, that our timer is just going off. Starting to get that coconut milk sort of oil slick on top. I'm just gonna get a spoon and eat a potato with some broth to see where we're at. Let that cool off a bit. No burning of the face. And then whenever we pour the corn and the seafood in, we just have to chop some cilantro. Isn't the most of the beneficial bacteria that you want in the bran? I would say so. I would say so. Like most of the bran is milled in. There's just some of it that stays more coarse. The potato just like fell apart in my mouth. We definitely need some salt. But now we can add everything else, right? Potatoes falling apart in your mouth. Let's add a little bit more seasoning before we put the seafood in. The chipotle is not super spicy. It's tasting nice and balanced. Same with the cumin and the coriander. And then we'll finish the soup once everything's cooked together with a squeeze of lime juice. And if you feel like it needs something sweet, you can add a little bit of honey or sweet chili sauce. And if you want it more spicy, you can add hot sauce or more chipotles. So we definitely want this simmering when we add the seafood because it's gonna cool everything down. Same with our frozen corn, right? Just turn it up a little bit to get it bubbling. What's the adobe? So all it is, it's called chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. And so it's just the smoked jalapenos, I guess, cooked together with oil, onion, garlic, some tomato, and spices. So it's a really flavorful, spicy pepper paste, let's say. Gonna wait for it to come up to a simmer one more time for the seafood next. Because that's the most delicate. I'm gonna grab the cilantro. And the lime. Yeah, adobo. So, Mish, you're saying you have a mill at home then? Are we there now? I think pretty much. Okay, you just use the trick to get everything through the sieve. Makes sense. Like I said, usually if it's like a liquid sort of sauce that I'm straining, I'll use a ladle. Go round and round and round. Adobo, Jiggles says, Spanish for marinade, sauce, or seasoning. Well, that just makes sense, doesn't it? The immersion of cooked food in a stock. So adobo is not the sauce it's made in. Adobo is a technique. Nice, yeah, you can make your own adobo at home. That would probably be so good. All right, we're bubbling. Shrimp, scallop, clam, mussel, all raw, going in. Give that a stir. Maybe 5 minutes? Five minutes or so. I'll set the 5, but we'll probably check at 2.5. Okay, got cilantro over here. Filipino adobo is also different. Hey, that's a-okay, Scoops. It's really good with any sort of fish or shellfish. Just with cod and shrimp, that'll be yummy. Let's do this view for now. Packed all my herbies up nice so that they could last the rest of the weekend for us. I just had a little bit left of everything. That's all you need, right? We'll just chop the rest of that up. Cod is so good. I have been having, yeah, a craving for like actual fish, right? I don't really eat too much fish anymore. More seafood like this, because that's what I trust. From the store, I don't trust the fresh fish that I can buy. Sadly, the freshest fish that I can get here now is frozen on the boat. And I'm not against that at all. Do I make any Filipino dishes yet? Yes, I have. Yes, I have. They're going nuts out there. You just get flash frozen fish. That's nice. I think we'll start doing that probably next month. Or we'll see when that new seafood place is opening up closer to us, so I don't have to drive to the airport every time. Because they get fresh fish in every Thursday from the East Coast. And like when I went there at 1 p.m., they were almost sold out of everything. It was like, whoa. People know this place then. Lobster Mobsters, it's called. If you're unsure of whether this stuff is cooked, just lift up your spoon. It should be firmed up. The shrimp is definitely all cooked. The mussels probably will take the longest. You definitely don't want to be eating raw seafood, guys. You'll get so sick off of it. I mean, you also might, but you really risk it. I usually don't eat raw seafood unless I know exactly where it came from, or like I trust a sushi chef to prepare it for me. Tartar chowder. Oh, I know, Scoots. I mean, we're in the landlocked province too, right? So yeah, definitely let that soup pot come up to a little simmer. The seafood's not gonna get super overcooked if you let it go a couple minutes extra, but don't let it go like 30 minutes and then come back, right? And that's also why I'm stirring it the whole time when you add a bunch of cold stuff like that. Because if you just leave it in that pile that you dump it in the pot, nothing is really gonna happen. All right, get this chopped up. Some cilantro on top. I would say that's optional if you don't want cilantro but still want some like fresh herby flavor. Just switch it out for parsley. It's not gonna be quite the same, but don't make yourself eat soap. But green onions are definitely on this one. It's so, so good. That looks nice. Grab a container. Look, that's our timer. It's gonna turn the pot off really quick. There's lots of residual heat in there still. Now I have a parsley dish like this in the fridge and a cilantro one. Don't get them mixed up. Whoa, what's going on upstairs now? Wipe off the board really quick. Get the chlorophyll out. Okay. It's me, hi. Hello, welcome. Let's get this pot off of this stove top. No, that's the other neighbor. I've told them to be quiet before too. In a pretty funny way, but I can't say it how I said it on stream. Because sometimes it's like a daily thing, dude. It's like, hey, can you just stop? And then you say the word. Usually it helps, actually. But like, that definitely means there's zero insulation in these walls. To make the shrimp stock, how long do you simmer the shells? Add anything to it. I keep mine very plain, just so that I have the most amount of options to use it with afterwards. You can always add flavor later on, whatever you're gonna make it with. So yeah, just do your shrimp shells. I've tried to do it in 30 minutes, and I found that there wasn't quite enough flavor. Like in culinary school, they say, oh, you can make like a seafood stock in 30 minutes. What's the quickest one? Same with the veggie stock. I usually go the hour until it starts to get colored. And then we just strain it out, let it cool, and I freeze it. Look at this, guys. We're there. Let's get a bowl. So yeah, now I have actually extra stock. Probably just put it back into the freezer. Let's plate this chowder in the wok bowl. because it'll look so good. Where should I move this? Look at how nice the consistency of the broth got. It's all just one thing, nothing is separated out of it. Before we scoop it, I'm gonna have one more taste. That is so close to being perfect. Close. Definitely gonna add the lime juice to brighten up the flavor. And a little bit of salt. I'm not gonna add anything sweet because I think it tastes really balanced. Just half a lime. Now that should be perfect. Okay, and then I'm trying to remember how much like a bowl of this chowder costs. I think it was like $11 or something, or $8 for one bowl. Let me look it up. Red fish, blue fish. It's 8 and 16 Greek. I love how you like instantly know. Seriously, it's that much? Whoa. I mean, all the seafood I put into there was $8. Okay, it's... Listen to this. $20 per liter. If you were to go to the restaurant to buy this soup. $20 a liter, $12 a bowl, or $8.50 a cup. I usually get the bowl, but holy shit, hey? So that's why I always just like make it myself at home now. I mean, I'm not even in proximity to go there and have it. But it's like, whoa. I mean, every time I have gone there to have it, I've never been disappointed. So I wouldn't be mad paying that much. Definitely heavier on the potatoes with this one. That's okay though. As long as you get a little bit of this seafood. I think it'll still be really yummies. Okay, that looks good. Yep, just the labor of the chefs. Well, you saw like all the different components and like how we added everything separately. There's a reason for all that. Man, that looks so good in the bowl. Like, it looked good in the pot. And now it just looks so awesome. Okay, green onion sprinkle. Very true, right, Greek? Yeah. They have to pay their staff to work there. If you want crappy staff, well, you can charge less. But then, well, people aren't gonna come back to your restaurant. Because, like, let's be honest, like, I don't know about you guys, but these days, I'm like a one chance sort of person with restaurants now. Maybe max 2 chances I'll give them. If, like, I heard that they were supposed to be really good. But most of the times I'll just try a place once, and like if that's not for me, then I'll find somewhere else. This is a yes please for me. I am very excited to eat this. Just grabbing a spoon. We'll take a photo. And last thing on our list is to mix up our starter. Another perfect 2.5 hours. That's what I should rename the stream. 2.5 hour cooking. The stream ends regardless at 2.5 hours. You know, places that can be really mediocre, like 1 out of 10 times, and amazing the rest. But yeah, if you're spending that kind of money, right? I would say this turned out exactly like it should. Theirs is a little bit more red from redfish, bluefish. They might put a bit more tomato in their broth. But hey, that's usually what it is. So in restaurants, the most skilled people will always work the busiest days, right? So the most skilled people will work the weekends and the days leading up to the weekend, and that's why they have their days off on like a Monday and Tuesday where most people don't go out to eat. So not saying it's like everywhere that does that, but yeah, usually on like a Monday and Tuesday, you don't have the best people working. That's their day off. We literally hit that one. Like, head of the nail. That is so perfect, you guys. I've been brought back to BC for a sec. Okay, I got some muscle in this one. Blow, because I hate burning my mouth. I'm just gonna put this down. Greek, have you eaten this? Have you gone to Victoria to eat this? Thanks, Cookie. Like, as soon as I bought the seafood and coconut milk, I knew I was gonna make this because I had the corn in the freezer too. The mussel is cooked, but not like rubber. It's good. Happy, thank you very much for being here, as well as your 200 bitlies that you're putting towards the solar fund. Hope you're doing okay. So I saw in the reviews, the only thing about freezing this, I think it would be totally fine. There just might be a little bit of the fat separation. Like the coconut fat might rise up to the top when it freezes, and you just have to mix that in when you reheat it. I would say, yeah, for sure, freeze leftovers though. Like, that was my plan. Eat 3 liters of this during the week coming up, and then I usually freeze one for Samo. This scallop's really cooked to nothing. It'll probably be a little bit hard. It's so satisfying altogether anyways, though. They're not hard. They're actually perfect. Happy you've been to Redfish, Bluefish? Only once though, you can't remember what you ordered? We usually get a bunch of stuff, right? Since we don't live there anymore. There's like, I'll always get a bowl of the chowder, because I usually just like have a couple spoonfuls and then take it home. Eat it the next day wherever we're staying. The tacos are so good there. They make these like little fish kind of like, think of how when they plate a crepe in that triangular shape, that's how they make their fish tacos. So good. And then obviously a fish and chips. Best fish and chip batter I've ever had in my life, you guys. Wait, other than Gordon Ramsay fish and chips. Other than that, yeah, like a sushi taco, like the seared tuna one. Oh. And they use hand-cut Kennebec fries, so it's like the best fish and chips ever. My nose is running now from the soup. One sec. It's working, the Chipotles. Okay, I'm back. I'm all washed up. We'll just put the bowl to this side and we'll move the pot. And then I gotta read the thing, how to make the sourdough starter from our flour. I said I wanted a nap yesterday after I ate. Crush this bowl. I don't know. It's seriously addicting. I think I've had salmon in there too. Like they usually just kind of throw in at the restaurant whatever scraps they have, right? Salmon, cod, shrimp, scallop, any shellfish. So almost every time you go, it's gonna be like a little bit of a different seafood medley mix. Okay. So from King Arthur Baking is what I linked for making a sourdough starter. There's 527 reviews with 4.5 stars out of 5. So I thought this was a good one. We learned from Mish that if you feed your starter 40 pounds of flour and it still doesn't rise, that it's not alive. You're welcome, Greek. Okay, they say whether it conjures up a crusty, flavorful loaf of bread or a bubbling crock of flour water starter, sourdough is a treasured part of many bakers' kitchens. Where does the path to sourdough bread begin? Right in your own kitchen with your own homemade sourdough starter. Sourdough baking is as much art as a science. Yeah, fact. The method you'll read here for making sourdough starter isn't an exact match for the one you read on another site or in a cookbook or in your great-grandma's diary. Grandma has sourdough starters in her diary? It's the tried and true method we use for making starter here at King Arthur, which is a company that produces flour and like baking things. And they say, we feel you'll have success with it. Along with the tips at the end of this recipe, which we highly urge you to read, our sourdough baking guide, which they just like link this, offers a wealth of information and advice to you new as well as veteran sourdough bakers needed for your guaranteed sourdough success. No one proofread that before they posted it. That was hard to read. Hey Scoots, thanks for being here today. Hopefully see you tomorrow from the lurk. Thank you, Michael, for that. Your great-grandma was apparently the master at sourdough. Her starter got lost though, so it's like a womp womp. No. Excuse me. Sorry. Belcher approval for the chef. So also, like, I could have really went the easy route for this and just bought a sourdough starter that someone already has made and is selling. I've seen them go for like $5 for some. I've seen them go for 10, 15. So like that's also something that I'm probably going to start offering even to you guys, is you can make your starter and dehydrate it. It's pretty cool. And then you just rehydrate it with water and it reactivates it. But I didn't want to go that easy route. Like, as much as those starters probably work amazing, I think it's just more fun for me to do it as much from scratch as possible. You shipped it out to your mom that way. Amazing, Cookie. And it worked, like, when she rehydrated it. Okay, this is what they say. Prep time 50 minutes? Why? And then they say total time 5 days and 50 minutes. But I will say this from experience and from what I've read in books is your starter will be the most active after 3 weeks of feeding it and using it. So just be aware your first couple loaves of bread are not going to be the most beautiful ones ever because your starter doesn't have that strength yet built up. And Cookie says it worked. Rehydrating the dried starter. That's exactly it, Greek, yeah. So that way some of you guys, because it's really inexpensive to send something that light, just send it in an envelope, nothing fancy. And if you guys want to make bread at home or you know people, I'll send you guys a little pouch of starter. Okay, where are the tips at the bottom that they said we should read through? Okay, the first one is about discard, which we don't need to know yet because we are just not there. This is interesting, and I was wondering this. So why does this starter begin with whole grain flour, which is what we have today? So the recipe called for pumpernickel flour or whole wheat flour. And I couldn't think of anywhere where I could buy pumpernickel flour. I haven't seen it. Even just rye sometimes is hard to find. So that's why I went my route. So they say because the wild yeast that gives sourdough starter its life is more likely to be found in the flora and fauna rich environment of a whole grain flour than in an all-purpose flour. What if all you have is all-purpose flour, not whole wheat? They say go ahead and use it. You may find the starter simply takes longer to get going though. I think that's all I used last time I did my sourdough adventure, so this will be fun to see the difference. They say also if you feed your starter on a long-term basis with anything other than all-purpose flour, it will look different, either thicker or thinner and a different color, which will also make it act different. Not to say that you can't feed your starter with alternate flours, just that the results may not be what you expect. Very interesting. So I might have to go just to the store and buy an organic, kind of cheaper, all-purpose flour just to feed the starter with. By the sounds of it. Link to what I'm reading, it's just the second one here in our recipe link. Okay, what else? I was actually worried about this one. They say, should you use bottled water? Because this morning I was like, oh shit, like I don't have any spring like bottled water here because I've read that tap water is not the best. So they say unless your tap water is so heavily treated that you can smell the chemicals, currently it's not, but usually in the springtime, like probably in the next month or two when it really starts to melt and flow into the river, there was times where like you open up your tap and you smell chlorine instantly. So it'll probably be good for me to have a little bit of just like some distilled water or spring bottled water on this side to feed the starter with if there is a day where I go to use the tap water and it is like that, because you could risk killing the starter after all that time you put into it. Tap water in Denmark is probably way better than the tap water that we get here. But maybe not. So the colder the environment that you are preparing your starter in, the longer it will take to become what it is. So the slower it will start to grow. That is why I'll be keeping mine in the bedroom, not in the house, because that is the warmest place in here. Yeah, like our tap water in the city now, I mean, I've on my wish list for next month for Samo to get is like a filter to install under the sink for us. Okay, anything else? So one of our readers offers the following thoughts about the duration of everyday feeding, which I am like not prepared for, but it's fine, which we think is great advice. Conditions vary so widely that 7 days of feeding can be far too little. Like it's not active enough. Learn that the key is to watch for a dramatic and consistent rise in the jar. So as Mish was saying earlier, one of the suggestions is to, when you first create your starter, we'll do that today, either draw like a line on your jar or container, or a lot of people will just use an elastic band. I'll probably just use like a hair tie to mark the line of where the starter was initially. And then you can see as it grows how much it has risen over the time. So you want it to at least double between 1 and 4 hours after feeding. That means it's a really healthy and happy starter. This could be 7 days or less after you begin, or it could be up to 3 weeks. That's why I said, for who wrote the article, they said it was 12 to 14 days to get like a really nice starter out of this. Makes sense. But yeah, like in the past, that's exactly what I did to Cookie. Like I think I tried it at 2 weeks and the loaf just didn't rise up as nice. It was very like dense. It was still bread. It just wasn't the bread that I wanted. Yeah, when in doubt, just feed it 40 pounds of flour. Okay, so what amounts of stuff do we need to start here today? And then I guess tomorrow morning, I'm going to the grocery store to buy some organic all-purpose flour just to feed this baby. Because we'll be feeding it tomorrow on stream. Okay, to begin the starter, 1 cup of whole wheat flour to half a cup of cool water, it says. We're not going cold water, and I don't think we necessarily want it like warm enough to room temp. Maybe a little bit colder than that. So combine your flour with the cool water in a non-reactive container. They say glass, crockery, stainless steel, or food grade plastic all work great for this. Yes, you could also do that. I was also saying, Frank, like people are sell. You can just buy someone's sourdough starter from their house. So listen to this. This is also important. What you create your starter in has to also be large enough to allow the room for when we feed it and it rises. So you don't always have to be like switching the container. So I usually just go for like a full size 1 liter mason jar, even if that seems like a lot to start. And that way we have enough room in there. Or I might go like a mid-size one, we'll see. Okay, so stir everything together really well. And this is important to not have any dry flour around still. Yeah, we must start this ourselves. So there's our flour. We just need our water and a little jar. I'm gonna put our herbies away for a sec. Actually, I have the greatest container ever. Thanks, Cambro. Haha. This is gonna be perfect. I usually use it to make like my chia seed pudding in. I have this container. Nice lid to seal on, or you can kind of like just keep it half on where there's a little bit of air that you can let release out the side, which is important for making a starter. Otherwise the lid will explode off of there if you build up too much gas. All right, so 1 cup of flour to half a cup of water. Seems simple enough. Let's grab our cup measures. Wow, like look at how that flour just kind of clumps together. And usually, I will say, I like to add the water first when I'm first mixing this. Because now if we add the water, it's gonna like try and stick to the bottom. You'll see. You'll see. Let's run our water so we can get it cool, but not too cool and not too hot. Actually, that also might be right, Mish. If I can remember, I've usually added more water. Is that what they said? They add more water than they call for? Okay, that feels like a nice temperature. It's not warm and it's not cold. Hello, madam. How are you? Welcome in. Okay, so there's our half cup. Luckily, I know how the consistency of this should be. Because it's not my first sourdough adventure, but let's see. I'm gonna grab like a little spatula as well as possibly a small whisk. Just don't want to scratch up the plastic. Yeah, right? Like equal parts flour and water. I wonder why they make it so thick to start. And like, let's say especially because we milled this ourselves, usually people say that it absorbs more water. Yeah, maybe to jumpstart it. But if it's too thick, I don't know. Nothing's really gonna happen. Look! We can't even mix this. Madame, you've been on stress leave since like January until April? I'm home for forever, if you wanted to come visit. Sam put me on stress leave too. No, he didn't, that's a lie. But yeah, straight up, if you want to come over for a visit to hang out, if that would make your life better, I'm home. Samuel's home on Thursday. Okay, so that's 3/4 of a cup now. Guys, we're going equal parts. For forever, I'm home. Yeah, I haven't worked up north since October, which is really crazy to think, actually. Now we gotta be like really rough with it. I usually kind of go crazy to build up that gluten. I don't know. Every time I mix up the starter really rough like this, it always turns out really good. Same with when you go to feed it. I don't know what that's about. Like, I'll mix it until it gets glutinous like that. There's always an open invitation to come visit. You guys already know that. You think I would not love to have you around? I'm just going a little bit more. Because they said no floury lumps at all. Okay, that's looking good. It was your birthday yesterday? Happy belated birthday! Tonight you get a Dairy Queen cake. The chocolate crunchy layer is life. Just clean up the edges. And then this gets put in the room in a warm place. And one more thing, we just put our line. Mark our line. I'll get a stretched out elastic. Can I fit it this way? We might have to go this way. And so we just put that exactly where, maybe I'll go a little bit higher on that side. Exactly where the line of the starter is on the container. So now we will be able to tell if it has risen or not. And we should see some action overnight with this. I'm just gonna go put it in there right now because it is like quite cool in the house. And I'm gonna say it's gonna like live on my nightstand. Sleeping with the baby beside the bed. We did it though. That's exciting. Holy smokes. Okay, so what happens tomorrow then? Day 2. Wait, they said you might not see any activity at all in the first 24 hours. Or you might see a little bit of growth and bubbling. Either way though, they say tomorrow we discard half of the starter. Wait, so we didn't bake today. That means we have to bake with some discard tomorrow? Can you use that discard even though it's not like starter yet? Munching on salted oatmeal cookies with chocolate covered fudge bits in it? Mish knows what this is. How do you say it? I'm not gonna say it how I would pronounce it. Okay, so tomorrow we just throw out half of the starter, whether it's bubbling or not, and we do a feed. And so I suppose I'll be posting starter updates every day in Discord now. Fun. That was the whole point of it, to be fun. That's what life is all about. Okay, I'm looking for someone for us to go raid. Oh yeah, Cosmicat's Moogle cake, which we thought we were gonna see yesterday, but now she's assembling it today. Do you guys want to see that? Or you want to go see some tonkatsu ramen with Taz? Because that's always some good chill vibes over there. Also, ramen is life. Tonkatsu, so dang good. Oh, this is hilarious. Before we go, just on the topic of tonkatsu, has anyone ever got the tonkatsu ramens from Costco? They come in a 6-pack, and they're actually pretty legendary as far as like quick noodles go. But anyway, so Samo brought up some of those soups with him to camp because like sometimes you need a snack or like dinner is just not super filling. So he brings those up with him. He brings 6 of the little soups up. Here, I'll go grab them so you guys can see them. Because this is like the only kind of quick noodle we buy. Someone sees him eating them in the lunchroom and they buy the last 3 off of him for $10 a piece. I paid $12 for 6. But this is it. And it's so dang good. $300%. So I bought more because they were on sale for him to bring up. Okay, guys, we'll be back 11 a.m. Pacific tomorrow making a spicy Italian sausage baked pasta dish. Getting back into our starter, do a feed on it, and maybe some baking with the discard if we're feeling up to it. So we're gonna go see Taz. He's making ramen. And it looks like Devin's in there with him too, his waifu. Both legendary streamers and humans, so let's go spread the deliciousness over there. Hope to see you tomorrow. Madame, just message me on Discord, okay? If you feel like coming over, we can arrange something. Love y'all. Thank you for all the crazy bits today as well. Stay safe. Bye!